Pnawn da bawb, John Williams dwi Cadeirydd Iechyd Prifysgol Bai Abertawe. A chan y bwrdd, croeso cynnes i'r cyfarfod arbennig hwn o'r bwrdd i ystyried ar adroddiad blynyddol a cyfrifon. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Williams, the chair of Swansea Bay Health Board. And on behalf of the board, I'm extending a very warm welcome to you all to this special meeting of the board this afternoon to consider the annual report and accounts. Now, as you know, Swansea Bay University Health Board is a public body. We're one of the health bodies that forms part of the NHS Wales family, and we spend public taxpayers' money. We get that in the form of an allocation from the Welsh Government. We have to spend that money responsibly, with integrity, transparency, and with value for money in mind. We have to use public money in a way that meets the requirements of regularity. That is, we spend only on what we have the authority to spend money on, and propriety, in line with robust standards of governance that we need to follow. The annual report and the annual accounts are the cornerstone of our corporate reporting, and they should give the population, our staff, our partners, our regulators, inspectors, and government the clear and relevant information against which everyone can determine whether the board has discharged its role in line with the requirements on it. And that's why we're here this afternoon with this single issue board meeting to look at our annual accounts and report for 2022-23. Now, the full board is in the very fortunate position of the fact that this morning the audit committee did the heavy lifting for us. So I have to say thank you, firstly, to Nuria, who put in a stellar performance this morning in chairing the audit committee, as did Anne-Louise, Pat and Tom as members. Also have to thank Darren Griffiths as Director of Finance, Alison McLennan, the Assistant Director of Finance, and then the whole finance team, as I do Hazel Lloyd, and then Kate Morgan as Head of Corporate Governance, and the Board Services team of the Health Board. Our Audit Wales colleagues, so we have Derwin and Leanne with us, and then our internal audit colleagues, and Ossian, we will welcome you this afternoon. We are very fortunate indeed, because I sat in on that committee and I witnessed some really rigorous, challenging scrutiny and oversight of everything that had been spent in 2023-24. So diolch yn fawr iawn I chi gyd. So we'll turn to the agenda now. So can I ask, please, for any apologies?
Yeah, so we've got Chris Morrell, Jackie Davis, Rena Owen, Steve Spill, Richard Thomas and Sarah Jenkins.
Thank you very much. And are there any declarations of interest other than those already registered as such that members will have declared previously? So that's great. Thank you very much. And I've received no matters arising other than the ones that we have on our agenda today. So we can move straight in then to section 2 of our agenda, and that concerns our annual accounts. And Darren, I'm going to turn to you now to take us through the annual accounts for last year.
Diolch, Chair, thank you. So this paper covers the Health Board's audited annual accounts for 2023-24. As you already said, the accounts have been subject to significant scrutiny this morning and over a period of time. And the accounts were received by the Audit Committee on the 16th of May and have been subject to the proper formal review by Audit Wales as per the governance arrangements that you set out, Chair. We've worked closely with Audit Wales respecting the accountability arrangements during the period from the middle of May to now. And before you today is the final set of accounts informed by the process of that audit. The ISA 260 report, which follows, covers the detailed findings from Audit Wales. And having learned the lessons from previous years, I won't cover that in detail now because that will allow my colleagues in Audit Wales to give you the account of that report themselves. What I will say is that I acknowledge, recognise and agree with the content of the ISA as we've drafted it together over the last few weeks. The accounts process highlighted two matters of significance. One was a validation matter regarding to the way in which we've accounted for research and development expenditure. There is no net impact on the health board balance as a result of this, but audit colleagues were unable to validate that work due to the absence of an individual due to some illness which was unpredicted, and that continues to be an issue, which means we haven't been able to go back with that. And the second point was a matter of classification between fixed assets and intangible assets. Again, no impact on the balance of the health. I'll repeat again that the Board Assurance and Audit Committee this morning has done the scrutiny work and has approved the accounts for ratification by the board this afternoon. And as part of the scrutiny process done previously and today, a full analytical review of the accounts has been undertaken. And this year, for the first time, that analytical review was scrutinised by a joint meeting of the Audit Committee and the Performance and Finance Committee as well, which I thought was very helpful. I'd like to thank my team and Audit Wales for the work that we've done to get to this stage. Obviously, the report asks for the ratification of the accounts. I would respectfully suggest that the board would want to take the ISA 260 prior to making that decision, Chair. In terms of next steps, we'll receive the ISA 260. If the accounts are to be ratified, I seek permission then to fix the signature of the Chair and Chief Executive as accountable officer to the accounts for submission to the Auditor General tomorrow to enable the Auditor General to lay the accounts before Welsh Government before midday. That's what I wanted to say, recognising all the details there, Chair, and I'm happy to take questions.
So, diolch yn fawr, Darren. Thank you very much. Shall we take item 2.2 then, the ISA 260, before I ask Nuria to come in? So, Darren, do you want to come in on that point first?
Yes, I will do. Thank you, Chair. Pnawn da, everybody. So I'm Darren Owen. I'm an Audit Director in Audit Wales. So over the last few weeks, as Darren has said, we've been working our way through the draft accounts, and I'm pleased to say we're in a position that we have reached our conclusions in relation to those accounts. In relation to the opinions that we provide, the first opinion is a truth and fairness opinion. That is, in our view, do the accounts show a true and fair view of your income and expenditure for the year and the assets and liabilities you hold at the year end? And I'm pleased to say that in our view, your accounts do show that true and fair view. So that is a clean opinion in that sense. The second audit opinion which we provide, as the Chair referred in their opening remarks, is in regard to regularity. That is, have you conformed with the authorities that govern the health board? And the health board will recognise that, given your financial position over the last 3 years, you have exceeded that authority by around £40 million over the 3 years cumulatively. So we do need to qualify the regularity opinion, which is placed on your accounts. I should say two things. The first is this is not a new thing for the health board. This has happened for a couple of years in advance because of the financial position, and unfortunately is also a position that is present in, I think, all of the health boards across Wales as well. So the Swansea Bay position is not unusual in that sense. So the opinion is qualified for that. And also in the Auditor General's report, he does draw attention of the reader to the fact that, again, like other health boards, you do not yet have an approved 3-year integrated medium-term plan, or IMTP. So that is also referred to in our report. I wasn't going to dwell on anything particularly in relation to the audit because, if I'm honest, there's not a huge amount to dwell upon, and that is good news. Darren has referred to a couple of uncorrected misstatements, which the Audit Committee had a good conversation about this morning, so I wasn't going to go into the detail of those. And some of the corrected misstatements are set out within Appendix 3 of our report. So I think, with my thanks to Darren and his team for working so well with us once again in a very constructive, professional manner, I will pause and seek any queries. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you. So before we move to taking any comments or queries, Nuria, would you like to come in there for completeness in terms of the discussions this morning? And then I will open it out.
And everyone, for assurance and in accordance with the terms of reference of the Audit Committee, I can confirm that all elements of the annual accounts and the annual report, accountability report, performance report and accounts have been reviewed and scrutinised by the Audit Committee. The first draft of the final accounts was reviewed in May. A joint committee with the Performance and Finance Committee took place in June, and we have looked, as you mentioned earlier, to the accounts earlier on today. I can confirm that all changes requested by the Welsh Government and Audit Wales have been made and an audit trail has been retained. I can also confirm that the Audit Committee has reviewed the ISA 260 with Audit Wales and approved the accounts for this to be ratified today at board. And I would like to finish, if I may, by thanking Audit Wales Internal Audit, Darren and the whole of the finance team for all of the work that they've done to get us to this stage. So thank you very much all.
Thank you, Diolch yn fawr, Nuria. So can I ask, please, are there any comments, queries on anything that you've read in the papers or anything you've heard, both from Darren, and then as Nuria has sort of summarised of the work this morning? Anybody want to come in there? Oh, thank you. I think that is testament to the rigour that the Audit Committee sort of showed this morning, really. So we are able to take assurance on all the documents that we've received and that all the updates that we've heard, and we are in a position, yes, to ratify the audited annual accounts for 2023-24, and we note that the Audit Committee approved them this morning. Are we happy to move to ratification, please? Thank you. Diolch yn fawr. We move then on to section 3, governance, risk and internal control, and that's to receive and consider the head of internal audit opinion. And Ossian, I hand over to you, please. Oh, Darren, did you want to come in there?
If you don't mind me interrupting, Chair, there's the letter of representation to approve is an important part of governance as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Darren. And can we approve that, the letter of representation? Again, it was subject to detailed consideration this morning. Diolch yn fawr. So we'll minute that as well. So Ossian, over to you now then, please.
Thank you, Chair Prynhawn. So I'm the head of internal audit from within Audit and Assurance Services at NHS Wales Shared Services Partnership. So this report set out the head of internal audit opinion together with the summarised results of the internal audit work performed during the year. It also includes a summary of the audit performance and an assessment of conformance with the public sector internal audit standards. Our plan has needed to be agile and responsive to ensure the Health Board's key developing risks are covered. And as a result of this approach, and with support of officers and independent members across the Health Board, the plan has been delivered substantially in accordance with the agreed schedule and changes required during the year as approved by the Audit Committee. The purpose of the opinion is to contribute to the assurances available to the Chief Executive as accountable officer and the boards, which underpin the board's own assessment of the effectiveness of the systems of internal control. The plan is focused on risk, and therefore the board will need to integrate these results with other sources of assurance when making a rounded assessment of control for the purposes of the annual governance statement. In total, 25 audit reviews were reported during the year. One was awarded substantial assurance, 18 reasonable, with 6 limited, resulting in the overall opinion as being a positive outcome with reasonable assurance overall. So just wanted to place on record our thanks to the Health Board for their continued support, cooperation and engagement with us to deliver the programme. That's what I wanted to say today. Thank you.
Thank you, Diolch. Any comments, questions for Ossian? We happy to take assurance on the report that we have. So diolch yn fawr eto, Ossian, thank you very much again, and we will take assurance from the report you've given us. So we now move to the second section of the work that we need to do today, which is to receive and hopefully approve our annual report for 2023-24, and I'll hand over to Hazel at that point.
So the annual report is an important document in terms of our governance arrangements. It was developed in line with the manual of accounts, and a first draft was received by Audit Committee in April 24. It was shared extensively with Internal Audit, Audit Wales, Welsh Government, independent members and executive directors, and various amendments have been made. The one that's presented before you today contains all of those amendments, and we're asking for it to be approved and submitted to Welsh Government before 31st of July.
Thank you. Diolch, Hazel. Again, are there any comments or queries on the annual report? And again, it was subject to a lot of detailed consideration this morning. Nuria, do come in.
Thank you, Jan. I would just like on the record share my appreciation for all the work that goes behind the scenes to pull this report together. In particular thanks to Kate, who has been subject to a lot of scrutiny and a lot of final amendments. Thank you very much.
Diolch yn fawr, Maria.
I just wanted to highlight to board members that there was one amendment to the performance chart just in relation to the colour to make that more clearer, so that has been made.
Thank you, and thank you for highlighting that part this morning. It was a very, very useful addition that we'll put in there. So on that basis, are we happy to move to approval? Thank you very much, and echoing again the thanks for everyone who has inputted such hard work into its production. So as I've had no other business, I'll bring the meeting to a close now. Dyma ddiwedd y cyfarfod. Diolch i'n holl glyfwynwyr ac i chi gyd am eich cyfraniadau. Cymerwch ofal a gwelwn ni chi y tro nesaf. So the meeting is closed now. Can I thank all our presenters and thank you all for your contributions both inside and outside the board and committee meetings. Please take care and we'll see you next time. Hwyl yn fawr. Bye for now.